Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday. It's the Lions Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne, the Swami. Yeah, it's Saturday, 9 a.m. It is July 27th. We're broadcasting live. We're broadcasting live into our Facebook, which has 41,000 villains on there. Please make sure you like and subscribe and follow this content if you like football content. We're also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you to Joe Chap and the boys over there for doing that. We are in the Huddle Sports Network on Roku, and we are also broadcasting live right now into our Villain Squad YouTube page and to JC Sports. Man, got all the, I almost forgot all of them. There's so much support that we have for this show, and we appreciate every single one of you guys. It is Saturday. We've had a full week. We've had a full week of training camp. What are your thoughts on the first full week of training camp? Let me know in the comments. What is one of the biggest storylines coming out from training camp? Well, the biggest story right now is the kicker situation. Michael Badgley was injured for the entire year, pulled his hamstring clean off the bone, and he is out for the season, and that leaves the bionic leg. Jake Bates is the lone survivor in the kicking room right now. I'm pretty sure that they're going to add somebody if they haven't already. They might have added somebody right here and right now while I'm talking. But I'm sure that they're going to add some competition for Jake Bates, but maybe they just might let the bionic leg go in there. But, you know, everyone likes a guy that can kick the ball 70 yards in the air, but we really, really need a guy to make 35-yard field goals. You know, when it comes down to it, if it's 4th and 11 and you're on their 30-yard line, you need a guy that could just go in there and just boop, hit you and get you a quick three on those. You know, those are considered chip shots to, you know, NFL kickers. You know, the really good ones they just make it inside 50. That's just what they do. And if you got a guy, you know, he can kick the ball 80 yards, that's fine, you know, for the 3 times that he might need that this year, you know, for a super, super long field goal. But that's not Dan Campbell's style. That's not Dan Campbell's style. I mean, you can punt the football. You got a weapon in Jack Fox. So long field goal or pin them inside of the 10-yard line with the best punter in the league. I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems like this is going to be a more aggressive team. This is going to be a more aggressive team than any other team in the NFL. And just having a kicker isn't going to change that. You know, if you can boom a 60-yard field goal at the end of a half or something like that, I'm good with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you get the ball with, you know, 20 seconds left on your side of the 50-yard line inside of 20, and you got to move the ball up. It would be nice to have a Jake Bates. Nice to have that Jake Bates. That way, if you get up to the 50-yard line, you know, I mean, you could actually kick in a 67-yard field goal with this guy. All you got to do is get the midfield, and this guy's bionic leg, you can fire that thing. I mean, I can't believe that. That's like he kicked NFL record style field goal in the USFL at Ford Field. So he has experience kicking at Ford Field. So what do you think of this Michael Badgley situation? While we have some of that, Elise memes. What's going on? It might just be me talking to you today. I don't know how many villains come in on Saturday. It's my first Saturday show. I don't usually do Saturday shows, but we're going to do them this year. We're going to do them this year. As long as you guys want to talk some football on Saturday, we're going to be here, especially during the season. I think it's going to be a big thing because people want to talk football. You know, this is before all of the college games. So that's all right. That's quite all right. So Elise is in the house. She says, happy Saturday. Rebecca is also in the house. What's going on, Rebecca? I am so excited about this season.
You like that?
Yesterday, I realized after the show was over, and I'm starting to edit up some of the recuts, and I realized I didn't have my drops.
You like that?
Elise, can you hear Kirk Cousins right now?
You like that? You like that? You like that? You like that? You like that?
If you can, throw a comment in there, because I didn't get them yesterday, and I looked really dumb. I thought I was putting in cool drops, and it was just silence. So if you can hear those drops, yes, the drops are in. Cool. Thank you, Elise. We like that, because I got some good ones in there. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to Oh gosh, man. It was an exciting week. I couldn't believe how yesterday I took so much crap for putting up a Hulk Hogan poster because he was at training camp yesterday. And that's right, brother. Hulkamania was running wild, dude. Hulkamania is at Detroit Lions training camp, brother. And not too many people like that. Mine 24-inch pythons aren't 24 inches anymore, but that's okay, brother. No, but we don't really mix into the politics all that much. You know, I don't follow that. I guess he ripped his shirt off at one of the conventions or whatever, and he's following one of the candidates. I don't care. I'm a Hulk Hogan fan from way, way back in the day. I know that he's gotten into some trouble, but I like him as a wrestler. You know, one of the most iconic childhood moments that I had in my childhood was watching Hulk Hogan slam Andre the Giant at the Pontiac Silverdome. And if you're into wrestling or anything, if you're one of those people that are into those wrestling right there, I have a wrestling page that I do really want to start one of these, one of these talk shows over wrestling, but I don't want to just do it just to do it. Because we started doing this talk show with the Lions Villain Report where there was nothing for like the first 3 years that we were doing it because we were building the page. We only had a couple thousand people on there and nobody was watching. So I'm doing it a little bit different for the WrestleMania Pro Wrestling Talk. I am going to start that show when I hit 5,000 followers on there. So as soon as we get there, it's like a 4,600 or whatever. So if you're a wrestling fan, hop over to that wrestling page, hit that follow button if you like wrestling. If you don't, then I'm just disregard that last 5-minute promo for my wrestling page right there. But Hulk Hogan was at training camp. What did you think of that? Is it a non-issue right there? Rebecca says, we like that. Yes. Amon Ra. Amon Ra is a great drop.
By the power of Ra.
By the power of Ra. Amon Ra, the sun god. I think that he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Or if he's not the best wide receiver in the NFL because of what he's really, really good at, he's going to be the best wide receiver in the NFL. So whether you think it right now or not, because when he came in 2021, Amon Ra, like nobody, I mean, he was a 4th round pick. There was he didn't have a lot of hype coming in the first year. They had a wide receiver. They were hoping that he could be a good piece, good slot receiver in there. And what he does well is he is an elite preparer. He's an elite preparer because of his father, bringing him up in the way that he did, him and his brother. They know how to get incrementally better. You know how that is. You want to get 1% better every day. I mean, I know that everybody uses it as a catchphrase when they throw it up. They put it up on the profile pic. Be like, yeah, no days off. Yeah. I know it. I know how to get better, 1% better. Well, Amon Ra lives that. And I think that he gets better at a rate that is unlike anybody else in the NFL at any position. He's an elite preparer. Like, he's going to run that route 900 times to make sure that he can just a little bit better, a little bit quicker out of the break. Amon Ra is an elite preparer. And I think that is the Brad Holmes medicine. That's the medicine for Brad Holmes. That's what he has. That's his deal. That's what he is good at, is finding guys that will break their backs to become the best players that they can be. And they may not even be the best players at that position at that time. You look at a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. That guy will learn and learn and learn and learn and continue to grind and get better. And they do it better than other players do. Some players have natural ability. Some players come into the NFL with just unbelievable physical gifts, a la Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams isn't the elite grinder like Amon-Ra St. Brown is. But if they had a foot race, Amon-Ra St. Brown ain't winning that. He's not faster. That's not his trait. His trait is his mindset, his mental strength in the middle of games. He doesn't change. There is no nerves with this guy. He's just going to go out there and do it. And then if he drops a ball, he's going to go out to the jugs machine and he's going to catch 9,000 balls to make sure that he doesn't drop another one. That's what it is. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown in a nutshell. That's Aiden Hutchinson in a nutshell. That's Penei Sewell in a nutshell. They're elite preparers. And that over the course of a long period of time, Amon-Ra St. Brown may not be the best receiver in the NFL right now, but he's damn close. But in 2 or 3 years, he's going to outwork everybody. He is. It's just going to happen. All right. Rebecca says that Hogan and Campbell mania, brother. That's right. Campbell mania's running wild, dude. We're going to make a tag team. It's going to be Dan Campbell and Hulk Hogan. That's right, brother. Dan Campbell and Hulk Hogan. Only Dan Campbell's going to be the power guy because I ain't got much power anymore, brother. Oh, Randy says that imagine Sun God last season if he was actually healthy. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think there's a question for you out there, Randy, Elise, Rebecca? Do you think that Amon-Ra St. Brown will surpass his statistical total from last year? Do you think that he'll get more? I mean, even adding, let's just say the regular season, I think he had 1,100 yards or something like that. He killed it in the playoffs too, added some more in the playoffs. But do you think that he's going to do more? Do you think they're actually going to target Amon-Ra St. Brown more?
By the power of Ra.
And I'm going to go on record and say, I don't think he will. I don't think that he's going to get more stats. I think that he'll be considered a better player, but he won't have more stats because he's not one of those prima donna divas. He doesn't say, hey, Jared, you need to pass me the ball more. I am the number one receiver on this team. You have to come to the sun god every time.
By the power of Ra.
I'm the only one that knows how to catch the football. Like some of the divas that are in the NFL. Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have ego like that. So you are minus Josh Reynolds, right? And his 40 targets or whatever. Bring in Jameson Williams. He's going to eat up some of them targets. I know that they have been practicing with Jahmyr Gibbs doing a lot of stuff out of the slot as far as a receiver goes. So I think that Amon-Ra is going to stay right where he's at and maybe even duplicate that season. And he might go more. I'm not saying that Elise is wrong here. He absolutely will. I mean, if he goes off for 1,500 yards, it's not going to surprise me. But I just think that we have so many horses that, there's only one ball. So You got Sam Laporta, you got Jahmyr Gibbs getting more. You got all of these different players. I mean, even running the football more. I don't know if Amon-Ra is going to get more stats, but the offense is going to be so freaking lethal because of the spacing and everything like that. So, I mean, I actually think they're going to run the ball more than they did last year, but you never know. But he doesn't need to get those stats. If Amon-Ra puts up what he did last year, Elise, you're not going to be unhappy with that, right? Go to a playoffs, 10 plus touchdowns, 1,100 plus yards, 1,500 plus yards if you're going to count the playoffs. I mean, that's a good year. That's a good year for any wide receiver. He could be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL and put up those numbers because he blocks. He does everything. He's like a 5-tool player that is a wide receiver. He just so happens to be a wide receiver. But yeah, it has nothing to do with his talent. It's just it has to do with Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes can't he doesn't miss. Brad Holmes don't miss on draft picks. So he gets all these other guys in there. So who's going to be the guys after him? As far as the wide receivers, you got Amon-Ra, and Jameson Williams looks like he came into camp ready to take that number 2 slot. I mean, I don't know if there's any people that would really disagree with me on that point with Jameson Williams because he's out there beasting. Jameson Williams out there beasting. He came into camp prepared. He didn't do that last year. Jameson Williams did not come into camp, doing the gambling thing. There's been a distraction every single year that Jameson Williams has been here. And this year, that distraction isn't there. I mean, think about that from the entire NFL. Even the best teams in the NFL have distractions, but not the Lions. Lions don't have no distractions. What's their distraction? Who's going to be the number 2 quarterback? Who's going to be the pass rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson? That's not drama. That's what every team goes through. Position battles. That's what they should be worrying about. And finally, the Lions have put together a team where there is no outside distractions. There are no looming contracts. I mean, you can say that, this guy needs a contract or that guy needs a contract. Taylor Decker, Aline, those guys need contracts, but they don't have to. Lions are sitting at $34 million in cap. They have plenty of money to go do these things, and I think that they will. They're going to keep this band together. They got continuity. They got no drama. You got Jordan Love was holding out. Did he get 4 years, $220 million, Steve? Is that what he got? Did he get that this morning? Or is that still speculation? Jordan Love holding out, holding back the team. Trent Williams in San Francisco holding out. Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco holding out. That's the team. So he did get signed. So Jordan Love is signed. Is that what I'm saying? I want to go into my Google machine here and make sure that I see an article that is worthy of Jordan Love being signed. What the heck? I don't want to go to Yahoo. I would need Google. I need the Google machine. All right, let's look at this. Jordan Love. Did he do it? Did he finally sign it? Yes. Sources, Packers, Jordan Love have agreed to a 4-year extension worth $220 million, making him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. Ooh, I don't know if I want to talk about the Packers today, but that's pretty big. Jordan Love gets a bag. That's good news as far as Green Bay Packer fans go, right? Do you like that?
You like that?
Do you like making Jordan Love the highest paid player in NFL history after 8 games? $220 million for Jordan Love to sign a contract with the Green Bay Packers. What do you think of that? I mean, you like Jordan Love, right? So if you like Jordan Love, I mean, this is a good deal, right? Are you happy with this deal, Steve? Yes, he is happy. He's 4 years, $220 million. I want to know what your thoughts are on that, Steve. I mean, honestly, I mean, I ain't clowning you. I know that if the Lions turned around and they signed, Hendon Hooker to a deal like that after 8 games, I would have some questions. I would have some questions for my GM if he's going to sign that quarterback for $220 million after only having 8 games worth of good play. 10 games worth of good play. So, Steve loves it. Steve says that he loves it. He better do well, because I know just by last year, and Steve knows this by last year too, because all the Green Bay Packer fans went into witness protection last year outside of Steve and Robert Bertana. A-Dub was in here for a little bit, but they went into witness protection so if Jordan Love goes on another losing streak like he did at the beginning of last season, because I got tape on Jordan Love now. I mean, I don't think it's a slam dunk that this guy is going to be like a top 10 quarterback for his whole career or anything like that. He's still got to go out there and prove it by beating more teams than, you got Carolina in there. You got a couple good victories in there. Jordan Love did. You got a good young team. But, they had to pay him, though. I'm not going to give you any crap for it. I mean, he's next. I mean, it sucks that he only played 10 games before you had to give him a contract like that. I mean, it's not a good position as a GM, Brian Gutekunst. It's not a good position to be in, because he probably is worth a really, really good contract. But to go and make him the highest paid in the league, I mean, that does something to you on the inside. And you got to do it, though. There's no excuse to not do it. I mean, you're not going to go into the season without a quarterback. You're not going in there with Sean Clifford. So, I mean, I feel you, Steve. I'm going to agree with you. If I were a Packer fan, I would love that too, just because you don't want distractions. If you really plan on competing with the Detroit Lions for this title, this NFC North title, you got to be at training camp and you got to be practicing, because my team's grinding right now. They're out there grinding with their quarterback every day in training camp, grinding, getting better. John says 4 years. Sorry. Definitely needed a contract, but did not need that, nor even a top 10 quarterback. He didn't do. I mean, he played top 10 numbers by the end of the season. If you just take that part of the season that he was playing really, really good and isolate it and say, hey, this is it. He was actually a top 5 quarterback. But that's all right. That you have to pay your guys. You have to pay your guys, even if it seems like an overpay. When they paid Jared Goff, he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for like 6 minutes. But everybody said the same thing. Oh, you can't do that. You can't pay your guy that much money. Well, too bad. Too bad. Tua got a bag. Now Love's got a bag. Steve says, okay, Russell, what does that mean what does this say for Dak? Hey, it says shit or get off the pot. Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones in it. He's out there trying to figure out stuff. I got to keep Dak Prescott. Or should I keep CeeDee Lamb? Oh, I'm screwed. Oh, Michael Parsons' contract's coming up. I don't know. You're going to have to trade one of those guys. Welcome to salary cap hell. Salary caps are a myth. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys are on line one.
You like that?
It is what it is, man. You can't just be a good drafter. Like if you have a good GM, you can't just be a good drafter. You have to have a good contract guy. One of the things that the Lions are doing right now, better than any team in the NFL, is they are positioning and they're doing the second level of the drafting. They drafted guys that were good enough, and now they've repaid these guys, and they've done it in a way that they can keep this team together for the next 4 years. So the team that you see right now that the Lions have is just going to get incrementally better because of the way that they're built. They're going to compete. The way the hype that's in this season right now, going into this season, is going to stay that way. It reminds me of what San Francisco was doing 10 years ago. And now look at what they've done, because they've had, consistent good drafts. They've been able to save money on certain positions. And look what that does. Look what that does. That makes it so San Francisco, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl, they have competed at the highest level. NFC champion. They've been to a couple Super Bowls. They've been to that day. They had a team that could have won a Super Bowl. And that's what you want. Because there's no guarantees. There's no team that's so good. It's like, I got to win a Super Bowl. We're going to just win it. And it's just such a slam dunk. Nobody dominates like that anymore. It's like you got a handful of teams that are good enough to win a Super Bowl, and they throw down in the playoffs.
Took care of that thing for you.
It's my quarterback.
So we've got a team that can compete for at least the next 4 years. I think it's going to be more like 10, because the only reason I say 4 is because we don't know what the new players are going to be. We don't know what the next 3 drafts are going to be like. But he set this team up so well in 3 years that now it's going to compete for 4. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Jay-Z says Brad Holmes would have done a short-term prove-it deal. Well, in Gutekunst's defense, they did that already. Last year, when he's in the final year of his rookie deal, they signed him to a 2-year short deal, which was covering last year and this year. They had Jordan Love signed this year. So technically, Gutekunst has already done that, Jay-Z. So this is the second contract, and he proved it. He proved it. From week 11 and on, 21 TDs, 0 interceptions. I mean, that's good. That's good. Did you have that same type of rah-rah when Jared Goff almost broke the NFL record for not throwing any not throwing interceptions? That's not that impressive. It's impressive, but it's not so impressive that you're just, there you go. 60 million. Yeah. That's not, do it longer. That's an 8-week stretch of good play. There you go. But you made him the high because of that 0 interceptions, 21 TD, 0 interceptions from a week 11 on. You paid him the richest contract in NFL history. That's what I'm talking about. That's a very rich contract for a guy that doesn't have a lot of NFL experience in games. Derek Anderson went 10-6 for the Cleveland Browns. Vince Young came in and had a great year, his first year. There's plenty of examples of guys that can come in and do well the first year. But here's the thing, Steve, is the entire NFL now has a full off season and game tape on Jordan Love and everything that he was doing. And this is the NFL. So every team is going to figure out the way that he did that. So Jordan Love gets to figure out if he can adjust to the adjustments. And that's every quarterback. This is how we figure out they're great. He has to go through this step. I am not ripping on this guy while I'm saying this. Like the example of Jared Goff right here, right? He's at the Rams. He starts out horribly. The first year takes them to a Super Bowl. Then teams figure out that. They figure out how they're doing some stuff. They figure out how they're scoring so much. And then they figure out a way to stop Jared Goff. And then he goes down. He has a regression year, like a lot of quarterbacks do. And then you go one of two places when you have the regression year. Because once they figured it out, then all of the other teams go, oh, that's it. And then they all do it too. And they're so good that they do it. But when Jared Goff came to the Lions, he had to redefine himself. He couldn't be the same quarterback that he was in LA because then he wouldn't be good. Oh, I lost my camera. I lost my damn camera. Oh, so he came in, had to redefine himself. So this next step, Jared Goff has moved to me up a tier because of that. Now, Jordan Love will have a chance to do that, but they will figure out him for parts of this year. Like nobody just comes in. Even Patrick Mahomes had a down year. They figured him out. He had to redefine himself. You know, he lost some players, had to refigure it out. It's okay. It's okay. Rebecca says, I look forward to a better division this year. We might have the strongest division. NFC North might be the strongest division in the league now. Anybody agree with that? Thank you for the comment, John. John, Goff was an overpay, but he is way more proven, or he has to be way more proven than that. God, I can't read today. My eyesight isn't as good anymore. So sometimes I have a hard time reading the small print. You think Goff was an overpay? Let's really discuss that, because there was a contract that he signed right after he went to the Super Bowl in LA that made him the richest quarterback in the league. And then he had some down years. He came to Detroit, and the extension that he signed was an extension that was from that contract where he had $31 million. Oh, he's going to be paid for $31 million. That's too much money. You know what happens is the salary cap goes up. 8 quarterbacks get paid. Then all of a sudden, Jared Goff's contract is like 20, right? So for him taking 2 teams, he got paid for taking the Rams to the Super Bowl. And then he finished out that contract and got an extension based off the fact that he took the Lions to the NFC Championship. Now, John, would you say that he outperformed that first contract? And I mean, it's my quarterback. It's a loaded question because the answer is yes. He outperformed that first contract where he was the biggest paid player in the NFL when he signed that first Rams contract. He went from there, went to a new team, built them up, and took them to an NFC Championship. that contract, he earned it. He wasn't overpaid in that first contract. Now, I don't know if he's going to be overpaid for this contract. He hasn't played a year on it yet. As a matter of fact, he's still playing out his previous contract this year. There is no new money on this contract this year. It's the exact same thing minus the bonus. The bonus was extra. That's what you get. You get a huge bag of guaranteed money when you sign these contracts. And even though Jordan Love, the thing is, oh wow, it's $220 million. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. Here's the lights. Look over here. It's not. What is the guaranteed money? That's the only thing that matters in that contract. $220 million a year. Or not 220, but 220 total dollars. And what was the guaranteed money? That's the only thing that meant $155 million in total guarantees. I just found it right there. Jordan Love and the Packers have agreed to a 4-year, $220 million contract that makes him the highest paid QB in NFL history. He also gets a record $75 million signing bonus plus $155 million in new guarantees deal negotiated by their guys. I ain't gonna try to Mulgada and Andrew Kessler. So the money, the guaranteed money, $155 million is the only thing that really means something there, Steve. Rebecca says our division is going to be the toughest division this year. Let's see. Based on the reset markets of wide receiver, offensive tackle, and QB, Brad has saved about $29 million already. That's deep. That's a deep cut right there, Jay-Z.
You like that? You like that?
I'm making sure. If you guys can't hear my drops, let me know. I know that they could hear them at the beginning, but I'm trying.
You like that?
I'm getting some Kirk Cousins in there. I want to make sure. Our division is going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be exciting. Green Bay and Detroit are going to be the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I like it. Thank you for throwing that in there. Yeah. Steve, he's my Packer fan wrestling buddy, right? And he's also part of my wrestling page, which is WrestleMania Pro Wrestling Talk. We have about 4,600 people on there. I'm starting a talk show, Steve. If we can get this thing to 5,000. Let's get this thing to 5,000, and maybe me and you can come on here and we can talk some real wrestling. Real wrestling. I don't get into the AEW as much. I do talk about a little bit. I like some of the wrestlers over there, mostly WWE for me, and maybe some standouts from some of the other smaller promotions. But yeah, WrestleMania Pro Wrestling Talk. Come over, give me a follow if you like wrestling. If you don't like wrestling, don't waste your time. Oh, gosh. All right. Thank you, Steve. Setting up my nice promo right there. Rebecca says, I am pumped. It's something new that I've never seen. A great season in store for the NSC. It's going to be crazy this year. NSC's coming out this year. This is going to be a coming out party for a lot of teams in the NSC. And one of the reasons, like the ASC has been dominating for a few years now. When you talk about the top teams, you know, it's like the top 4 teams are AFC teams, and then then the 1 seed from the NSC. I think it's going to be a little different this year. Other teams have problems, and congratulations, but to the Green Bay Packers for finally getting that deal done. Because if he would have held out during the entire training camp, Steve, I'm not going to be saying too much good stuff about the Packers, because the Lions are in their training facility grinding. They're grinding right now, and they are pissed off that they lost in the NFC Championship last year. And you can make fun of it all you want, but they lit a fire under a whole bunch of really, really good players that are willing to put in their work. And they ain't riding off the coattails of what they did last year. They ain't going to get caught in a sophomore slump, which it really isn't a sophomore slump. The same discussion that was had last year about the Detroit Lions needs to be had about the Green Bay Packers. The Lions finished 2022 going 8-2 down the stretch with an epic victory over the Packers in Lambeau Field to go 9-8. And we were pumped. We were pumped going into last year. But during the offseason, I was one to be like, I picked 12-5. I picked them right on. I picked exactly where everybody was going to be at last year. I can put that little feather in my cap because I was more right with all these smack talkers out there than they were. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this year. Jay-Z says 360 passes in a row without an interception behind Aaron and Brady only. Yeah, and then when we went 8-2 down the stretch, what did they tell us last year, Steve? Pump the brakes. It's only 8 games, bro. Oh, you finally get a win in Lambeau. Look at you. And now you got it's at your Super Bowl. That's what they said. And that's what I'm going to say to you. You had a nice run at the end of the season. And you actually got into the playoffs at 9-8. We weren't lucky enough to get into the playoffs. I think the Lions would have made a run in 2022 with that team if they would have gotten to the playoffs after that victory. But and Penei Sewell announced that after his season that he is leaving the NFL to join the bloodline and finally win a championship. Oh gosh, that is beautiful.
You like that? You like that?
I had to give that one 11. That's the comment of the day right there. Penei Sewell, the Samoan, coming in there. He's going to join the bloodline with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Penei Sewell's going to become the tribal chief. Acknowledge me. Steve says, our defense this year is going to punch people in the mouth. I see we finally have some hitters, and I mean hitters. Well, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, Steve. Your defense is going to be under a brand new defensive coordinator. And you don't even know if these guys are going to be playing together yet. That's the thing that the Lions have over these other teams. We're seniors, baby. The core of our team, the best guys on our team have only been here. They've been here the entire regime. 3 years with Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra and Jared Goff. All these guys grew up together. We're going into our senior year of that with the same coordinator, with the same offensive coordinator, with the same defensive coordinator, with the same head coach, the same players. Like, there's chemistry here in Detroit that there isn't on any other team. Now, your defense may be better this year. That's fine. Joe Barry, you guys hated Joe Barry. You ran him out of town. There you go. Now you got a new guy. You got Matt LaFleur's buddy in there playing defensive coordinator. And they might be better, but you don't know yet. You don't know yet. You've got a team in Detroit that's been growing together. Now, the Packers, they do remind me of the Lions from last year going into 2023. Got a lot of young talent. It is a scary team if they develop. Development is the most scary thing out of Green Bay. It isn't any new players. It's not Josh Jacobs. It's not Xavier McKinney, some new guy that replaced the old guy that was good. It's progression. It's Jordan Love, taking the next elevated step to his already goodness. And you should be scared of that more for the Lions guys. Jay-Z said Goff's biggest problem with McVay would is that he could not develop him. Sean McVay traded for a developed quarterback, and Goff came to Detroit, and he was developed by Dan, Ben, and Mark Brunell. I would agree with a lot of that. I think that Jared Goff was developed, but I think that him and McVay were not seeing eye to eye for whatever reason. I heard there was personal stuff that was going on, but it was a downward trajectory afterwards. And Jared Goff would have won a Super Bowl with that team too, because everyone thinks it's just Matt Stafford that went over there. It wasn't just Matt Stafford. I don't know if you remember, but they also brought in a guy named Von Miller. That might have had a little something to do with it. And they paired him with Aaron Donald. And in that Super Bowl, at the end of that Super Bowl, that Stafford gets more credit than he deserves, they went 8 minutes. They went 8 minutes without allowing the Cincinnati Bengals to do anything. They took over that game. Aaron Donald and Von Miller took over that Super Bowl. Go back and watch it. You know, if you want to give Matt Stafford credit for finally getting the game-winning drive, and when they had like 6 chances, he failed 5 times. He got it on the 6th one, and it was hard. And if you want to give all the credit to Stafford for that, fine. That's okay. He deserves that. He played well here in Detroit. He went and got a ring, and now he's a Ram. But I don't think that Goff and Stafford are really that much different. I mean, Stafford is a Jaquiski Tart interception drop in the NFC Championship away from being Jared Goff. I mean, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That's what Jesse Ventura said. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And Stafford had a nice run in there and had a lot of skill mixed with luck during that run, and he got his bowl. John says that he can't type today. I can't talk today, so there we go. Gosh, I'm way behind. I got to get through these. Goff is taking number 2 money. It was a thank you. And thank you for believing me move. Yeah, I like that. He deserves it. Goff has been nothing but awesome here. He's been awesome. People love to say that Goff's stats don't matter, that it's always everybody else. But the thing is he's the common denominator in every success story that's around him. You know, at some point in time, you can't just say, well, you know, he can't run out of the pocket. And, you know, everybody, you know, Amon-Ra threw the ball to himself. He threw the ball. Oh, Sam Laporta threw the ball to himself. It's like at some point in time, you got to give the guy credit for making the throw. The guy is cold as ice. He's awesome under pressure. You know, he's not awesome under pressure when the whole play breaks down. But that's any quarterback when the whole play breaks down. If you can extend plays a little bit, that'll help. But at the end of the day, if you're getting constant pressure, you're not going to be. That's how you beat good quarterbacks. You got to take them off their spot. Steve says the AFC is loaded. Oh, most definitely. I think that this is going to be a good year for the NFC to pop up. Let me see if I can. Packers D is average. Mike Fisher says. Elise Meme says, Russell, do you ever go to any away games? Thinking about going into Lambeau this season. LMAO. Yeah, we make an away trip every year. My son and I. My son is 20 years old. We went to Baltimore last year. We went to Minnesota the year before that. This year, we're probably going to go to Indianapolis and watch Anthony Richardson. So, yeah, we try to get one away game every year. And if you go to Lambeau, let me know. Maybe I'll try to sneak a ticket from Bill the Packer fan, and we'll come up there and meet you. Steve says, trust me, bro. The defense is so getting together. they are so pumped up. Okay, cool. It should be good. It should be good. If you can have a defense that can stop the number one offense in the league, that's what's going to take. That's what it's going to take. You're going to have a good defense. As much as I am geeked to have Reader, I am good with sitting him and that sophomore defensive tackle that we traded up for in the regular season snaps, first 2 weeks. Let's see if what happens, get the new guy reps. I believe that the old, what is that? The old me is dead. Okay. My eyesight, I have to squint sometimes with these smaller ones. So the old me is dead is making a comment here about Broderick Martin. And Broderick Martin is a specimen. You know, the Lions like to draft guys that love to grind and that have attributes that you can't teach. And what Broderick Martin has, you can't teach. Is like some of the longest arms in NFL history when they were doing those measurements. And he was a project piece, came in about 350 pounds last year and just kind of stayed on the practice squad. And this year he did one of those things. He went out and did an Aleem McNeil transformation, went out there, dropped a whole bunch of weights, looking lean, looking mean, and looking like he is developing. So I like this call right here.
You like that?
We're in no hurry to bring DJ Reader up there. We need you for the playoff push, my brother. We need you for the playoff push. I think that some of these other guys are good. Russell, bro, you can't deny Vikings defense. I can't deny it. We carved it up last year. The Vikings defense got figured out last year. So hopefully they get something together with their new players and everything. But the thing is they had such a void of talent last year that, you can't, Danielle Hunter really carried that defense. And Brian Flores put them in a position with that blitzing that made them have a pretty good beginning of the season, but they got figured out. They got owned at the end of the year. Mike says that the Lions run the North. This is true. Thank you for the comment. Rebecca says, Steve, I follow many teams. Okay. Steve says, I think that I seen you on the other podcast, the Jets podcast. Okay. Got to follow these other teams too. The old me is dead. Imagine a goal line up of Broderick, Reader, and at D tackle, and Levi and McNeil as your ends, and then Hutchinson and Davenport as your linebackers pushing behind them. Doom, let's go. That they would just drop the ball over the top of those guys and throw it to the middle of the field. You got to have linebackers. You got to have linebackers in there. But what's good, what you did mention right there is the depth that we had. You're not going to put all those guys out there at the same time, but you do have depth there. When somebody needs to be spelled, that you're going to get a good quality guy that's coming up. Jets fans are so delusional. They need to get off of the Rodgers jet before they crash. Well, they're on that jet, Steve. When they signed the contract, they got themselves on the jet. They might need to parachute out of that jet before it crashes into the mountain. But Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything last year other than get injured. So he's still Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets might surprise some people this year. I don't know. I got on that Jets train last year, and I don't know. I'm not going to jump on it this year. I'm just going to stay neutral because that's one I was definitely wrong on last year. Jay-Z said, giving credit to the Lions coaches for developing Goff into what he has become, a real leader of the offense. Yeah, having a quarterback on the same page. I agree with you. They developed him. They took what McVay. The only thing I disagree with you is that McVay actually did develop him. They did. They developed Jared Goff to a point. He got to a point and didn't want to, remain on that train. And he brought in Matt Stafford. And the Lions, to your credit in what you're saying right here, they developed Goff even further. I think that his game is at a completely new level now. He is a top 10 quarterback by every metric. And he wasn't before. So I like where they've went with him. I think that he's going to continue to progress. Goff hasn't done it. It's not like Goff is like 35 years old. I mean, remember that the Rams traded for a older quarterback, and that's right. Steve says that Jesse Ventura, cheat if you can, lose if you must, but always. What was that? Cheat if you must, but cheat if you win. I know it's lose if you can, cheat if you must. Wait. Lose if you can, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. That's what it was. Had to think about that for a second. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. All right, the old me is dead. Goff this year will become the Lions' greatest quarterback in the Super Bowl era. He will become number 2 in stats, passing. Scott Mitchell's stat in passing. Stafford, when he gets come playoff wins, it will plant his flag. His flag's planted. I just think that it's already there. That flag's planted already. Goff is the best quarterback in Lions history. And that's the thing is like people say, oh, it's going to be Matt Stafford. It's not Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford went to a different team. And he doesn't get, in my book, he doesn't get to take that Super Bowl and then add it to what has happened over here with the Lions to make him the best Lions quarterback. He's not the best Lions quarterback. Jared Goff is already the best Lions quarterback because he won 2 playoff games, and that's 2 more than any quarterback in the Lions Super Bowl era. Seriously, can't wait for the D-line under Terrell Williams. That is a nice comment right there.
You like that?
That's an underrated thing right there. That might be the best signing of the offseason right there. I think that is going to really help our defensive line. Terrell Williams is the truth. He's going to be a head coach someday, and I'm glad that we got him. John says Vikes defense will get a bit better this year, and the Bears defense is dangerous. Packers defense is good for the hitters' worst tackling secondary in the league. Yeah, there's some good defenses. The Vikings could be getting better. They did draft a guy in the first round in Dallas Turner. I don't mind that. The Bears, I just can't buy into them yet. And as much as the Packers, are pumping their chests out and they want to come talk trash to the Lions, and I think that they're going to get sucker punched by the Bears. I think the Bears are going to get the Packers this year. And I don't even know why. There's probably not a football reason that I could say that. I'm sorry, Steve. I said this last year too, but I'm going to say it again this year. I think that the Bears have been coming, and I actually think the Bears are going to be the second best team in this division. And, oh, gosh, that's going to ruffle some feathers. I'm sorry about that, but I don't know. And the Vikings could surprise too, because Justin Jefferson for a full year, and you had Nick Mullins last year. And, I'm not a big believer in Sam Darnold, but, he's not Nick Mullins. Oh, gosh, the Jets are going to be crazy this year. Rodgers is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, that Achilles injury. Yeah, Rodgers is trying to be Brady. He wanted to come in here. He didn't want to retire the same year Brady did. He thinks he's just as good. Goff is forever the king of Detroit. Elise says that why did Charlie Johnson Gardner leave and go back to Philly. That wasn't his choice, Steve. He went back to Philly because we weren't gonna keep him here. He did a couple embarrassing things with the line. For one, he minimized the reason that I called this the villain squad. God, you want to talk about somebody that like helps you and then screws you over. He puts the stupid ski mask on his head. I never wanted to. When I made this page with Mike Abraham, when we decided to call this the villain squad, it had nothing to do with ski masks. That's stupid. That was dumb. We never liked that part. I think of the villain as a person that is like a 1950s gangster that dresses up real nice, that treats the ladies real nice, that goes into the nightclubs at nights and make sure that guys, are handling their business in the right way. It's like, yo, hey,
took care of that thing for you.
he got Pete the Unaliver. We got a couple people on, in our organization that make sure that people become unalive when they start messing around with the organization. Jay-Z says we are not our reputation. We are the work that we put in. We got to put in some work. Have a good one. Thank you, Jay-Z. Thank you for being part of the show today, Jay-Z. I'm getting ready to wrap this thing up too. I need to get my outro music ready. All right, everybody. You are watching Lions Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne. I've had a good time today. I'm finishing out these comments right here. Just want to throw some music. Elise. That was only the 6 players that I mentioned. There are still 5 players that I didn't mention. You got them big boys. Not for coverage. Behind them big boys, the coverage is Arnold, Branch, Malafino, Kirby. Now what? Love it. I love it. For the first time, the Lions get to pump their chests out a little bit and do it. Pump your chest out there, folks. If you're a Lion fan, pump your chest out there, because even if you're wrong, don't be a scared fan. Don't be a scared fan. Don't let any of these other teams. The Packers are not as good as us. The Packers are not as good as the Lions. The Vikings are not as good as the Lions. The Bears are not as good as the Lions. The Lions are the best team in this division, and we don't answer questions. We don't have to answer questions. Y'all got to answer questions now. We didn't win a division in 30 years. We've been answering questions for more than 30 years. But for once, we won the damn division. We don't answer questions this year. You got to answer the questions. Green Bay Packer, Viking. You think you've answered the questions. You guys are coming in here. Steve says the answer to his question is his brand new D and his new quarterback. That's how he answers the questions. You're answering the question. That's fine. We don't have to answer questions. We already answered all of our questions. We're just going to keep our pedal to the metal. And you guys got to try to keep up. And I don't think you can keep up. Yvie says she took care of that thing for me.
Took care of that thing for you.
Appreciate that. Brad Holmes with the villain hoodie was a nice giveaway before CJ GJ came up with the mask. Now, I don't think that Brad Holmes' vision of the villain and CJ GJ's vision of the villain were the same. And I think that's part of the reason that, to answer your question, Steve, that's part of the reason why he's not here this year is because he came in and tried to take this team over, and there were guys that had been putting the work in for 2 years, and he just showed up running his mouth. He got injured. He came back. He played awful in the playoffs. And no, I don't think that Brad Holmes and CJ GJ were ever lockstep. As a matter of fact, Brad Holmes just defined what their definition of the villain is this year. on this off season, but I decided to call this, and I took it to Mike and said we should call it the Villain Squad. It was just a training camp, like you said, with the villain hoodie from last year. He didn't explain what the villain was last year. All he did was wear the hoodie and just said this is something that is inside the walls. And I loved it so much. I love villains. Even in wrestling, I love the bad guys better. And the villain just really resonated with me, and I liked that. One Pride, go Lions. What's up, Jerome? Hoping that you guys can come in here every morning, except Sundays. Sunday's my church day. Faith, family, and football. It's in that order. But every weekday and Saturday at 9 a.m., the Lion Villain Report with yours truly, Russell Wayne. I'm going to have some guests on here too. There's some people that are around the campfire that we're going to be able to talk to, which is good. Rebecca, Honolulu Blue. What's up, Brent? It's good. It's good. So we're broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad. Please go over there and give us a follow. We're also in the Detroit Lions News podcast with Joe Chapp and the boys. Go give them a follow. Share that content. We're also on Roku, the NFL or the Huddle Sports Network on Roku. Oh wait, wrong one. On Roku. And then our YouTube channels right there. We're at the Lions Villain Squad on YouTube, and our brand new connection in JC Sports. And JC Sports is also going to house my wrestling podcast when I start that, once we get to 5,000. So thank you, everybody, for being part of today's program. And may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you, and may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again Monday for the Lion Villain Report. Peace out.
Make it hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we winning it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity.